Okay everyone, today on the workbench we have a job that I think is going to be relatively easy. So this is the control module from the EOWS 612 that was formerly in Hidden Valley, Indiana. This is the 612 that had the really bad pole bend to it. And this is the control module out of it. Now, that controller has found a new home. I'm going to keep the owner confidential at the moment. But anyway, they were fooling around with it and they ended up breaking something on it. And I also need to diagnose and figure out why this board doesn't seem to be doing anything. So basically, customer states that they tried to remove the 4027 chip. This is IC3 if I recall correctly. And they ended up breaking 3 of the pins on it, and I can already see that they're damaged. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and just pull the board out completely, and that way we can take a look at everything and see what kind of shape the board's in. So first we're going to unplug this. Now something you may notice is that everything on this board is socketed, which is not right. That's pretty unusual. And from what I can figure, this of course was not done from the factory. This board, well, the controller for the matter, apparently went through some sort of rebuild back in around late in 86. Honestly, I think they did it in 1987, like at the start of 87. So the board, as far as I can tell, this looks like it's from 1984. And that, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right because this chip right here is from 84. Even though that one is also socketed, it's older than the other ones are. And this also looks nearly identical to my 1984 board because I happen to have one as well. So go ahead and get this auxiliary card out, and this auxiliary card is weird. I don't know what this thing is. It's literally just a little PCB that has a resistor on it. That's it. I don't know what this does. I may have to look into this. I can't remember. Hang on, let me pull up the schematic real quick and take a look and see if I can figure out what this thing is, or at least try and think of what it does. Okay. So it's literally just a resistor that's going between ground and the output. That's all that this does. That's it. Why? What is it? I don't understand. But anyway, set that off to the side. Why would they do that? See, the thing is, I've seen many boards, well, many SiraTones, I should say, that have that strange little module installed in them. And I don't know what it's for. My SiraTone didn't have that. My prototype especially doesn't have it. Granted, my prototype is also missing a whole bunch of other things, but I digress. So I think this is the last screw. All right, we can go ahead and pull this out of here. And try not to get the connectors hung on everything. So here's the board. Get you in so you can see it. There is the problem with 4027. You can see 3 of the pins are broken. And you can see the date codes. Oh yeah, there's one, 1987. So I was right, this was rebuilt sometime in 87. Both 555 timers are from 1984, which is interesting. I can see that there's been some rework. I can see flux over here around these transistors. That's what that brown stuff is right there that you can see. There's a big solder blob on that diode right there. What diode is that? I can't read it. It doesn't matter. And this transistor has been replaced, and it looks like they absolutely wrecked the pads. Ooh. Whoa. Yeah. So this was... Whoever rebuilt this was not very gentle with it because there are jumpers. They had to run jumpers because they broke 2 of the traces when they did this, which admittedly is easy to do. These boards aren't crazy durable when it comes to doing rebuilds like that, especially these particular ones from 84. My 1984 board, the pads and traces, they'll break in a heartbeat. It's one of the reasons I hate working on that board, but that board is also broken, so that's fine. The conformal coating on this is very light. They did not go very heavy on the coating from the factory. But anyway, so let's try and get this, let's get this little 4027 out of here. So just take a little screwdriver, if I can get up under it. There we go. Get up under it, get one side up, just kind of hold it out. Oh, and it just slipped right out. Are they snapped off down into the socket? I don't think they are. These are cheap sockets too. They are single wipe instead of dual wipe, which are not great, but this controller ran for many years and it outlived many other SiraTones that were out there. So honestly, can't really fault it. So we're gonna get us a fresh 4027 here. This one, there's no legible date code on it, but this is one that I ordered off of, I think I got it was either DigiKey or Mouser that I bought it from. So we'll go ahead and install that, and I guess we'll get this back in here. I'm working on very limited space here, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Tiny desk problems. So we'll go ahead and connect those back in there. Let's put a screw or two in it so it doesn't move around. So now that we've got that in there, I need a tone module. I was wondering where it went. So, oh, this is one of those older style sockets that I absolutely despise. They're not very good. Come on, slide in there. There it goes. Okay. Get some things connected up here. So we'll go ahead and connect up some power to it. So your ground connects to the first terminal on terminal block number, is that terminal block 2? Yeah, terminal block 2. And then this is where your positive connects. It connects to the fuse holder. Don't connect it to the input on the board. So, see if we get any life out of it. We're gonna go ahead and hook up a speaker to it. Okay. It's pin 13 and 11. Yeah, that should be fine. You'd think working on these things all the time I would have created a simple little quick connect solution, but I haven't. Now, it is time for the smoke test. So let us arm the nugget. That did not sound good. Yeah. Just pop that fuse. Uh-oh. That's not good. We have a short to ground somewhere. Completely pop that fuse. Look at it. Dead. And that right there is exactly why you have to use the fuse. Use the fuse on the control module. Don't connect directly to the terminal block. Just don't do it. It's not a good idea. That being said, there's clearly something going on here. So our grounds are fine. That is very strange. I have no idea what could have caused that. Well, it's troubleshooting time. What do we know about electronics? If the fuse pops, that means that there is something that caused it to pop. Therefore, do not just stick another fuse in it and try and run it again, because it will do the same thing, because you have not fixed the problem. Pull the board back out and look around and see if there's any clues as to what could have happened. And I know it's not that 4027 I put in there because I know that chip works. I've used it in another board before. there's something that's causing a short somewhere that is causing overload. Here, let me set this down so you can see the meter. So let's see, what is the resistance? Well, we do not have a direct short to ground. That much we know. This transistor is not blown, is it? I don't remember what the pinout on that transistor is. Let's see. The 2N5296. So let's look that up. 2N5296. Yes, pin 1, 2, and 3, but what is what? What pin is what? Oh, here it is. Okay, 1 is the base, 2 and 3 are the collector and the emitter. So this is an NPN transistor. So if I recall correctly, the base is going to be positive, and then so that doesn't look promising, does it? Oh no. I think it's this transistor. I think Q1 is completely shorted. It has completely shorted itself out. But why would it have done that is the question. I mean, I guess it could have just been from heat because Q1 gets quite toasty, to be completely honest. So let me think. We're gonna use Tom's SiraTone here as a reference because even though his board is completely foobarred, I know the transistor on it works just fine because this board actually does power up. It just doesn't run correctly. So let's go back over here to diode mode. Four, 4, 3, yeah, that looks good. 5, 4, 1, yeah. That's exactly what's wrong. That transistor popped. Cool. The unfortunate thing is, I'm pretty sure the customer did that because he sent me a video the first time that he connected it to power. And he, instead of just jamming the terminals on the batteries, he let it arc a few times. He was holding it kind of back because the sparks startled him, and well, I kind of can't blame him. The sparks always startle me too when I'm working on these things. But arcing is a no-no because this board doesn't have a whole lot of protections against weird things like that. So any inrush current, stuff like that, it'll kill it. So unfortunately, I gotta replace that transistor, which sucks because they wrecked the pads on this thing when the first rebuild was done. Well, what I do know is that it should be a relatively easy fix, but before I get too carried away, what I do want to check, I want to check the Zener diode, because if the Zener diode is bad, it will send 24 volts through this entire board and kill it. And we don't want that. That doesn't look promising. Why is that reading 0? Is that connected directly to the transistor? That might be why it's doing that. It is. That's why it's doing that. Okay, so when I pull the transistor, I need to check that diode and make sure that diode is okay. Because if it's not, then this board is gonna die if I try and hook power to it. I hate the voltage regulation circuit on these boards. it was set up. It legitimately was set up to use a proper voltage regulator. That's what IC1 is here. That's this component that's missing. And they wound up not using it. And they opted to use this janky method that they're using here with this transistor and a Zener diode to knock the voltage down from 27.8 down to 11. And it's extremely janky, and I hate it. And my 1984 board is dead because of that. And which is kind of ironic because this is also an 84 revision. So, coincidence? I think not. So, that said, I need a transistor. The problem is, I don't know that I have one. If I do have one, it's used. Well, actually, before I do that, let us go ahead. We're going to pull off that transistor and get it out of the way. So this is my TS100. Great little gadget. Love this thing. Get it running. We just let it run on 300 degrees. That's what it defaults to, which should be fine for this. So what we got to do now, we got to get a little creative with this. The pads are already wrecked on this, so I don't really care if it doesn't really want to cooperate, because, well, it doesn't really matter in the end. Honestly, I could just cut the damn thing off. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. That's the easiest thing to do, just chop the damn thing off the board, because it's broken anyway. So, this transistor, this is gonna be painful to some of you, I know. Goodbye. Now that it's off, let's check and see. Let's check that diode again. Positive. Oh no. That's not good. I don't think that's supposed to be reading 0. Let me check Tom's board and make sure I'm not just going crazy, because that's always a possibility. So the Zener diode right there, 711. I might have a spare Zener diode. I don't know. I'll have to check. Oh, James is asking me when I was going to mess around with this SiraTone tonight, because I remember I said, I asked people if they wanted to watch it, and I decided to record it instead. Oops. Okay, let me walk over here, find my parts. Let's see if I've got a Zener diode. I don't think I do. That's not it. Zener diode. And it is empty, so I do not have a Zener diode. Damn it. Well, that sucks. Okay. So, that kind of sucks. I was hoping I'd be able to mess around with this today. I could just manually dump 10 volts into it. I don't really want to do that, but I could just do that. I have a voltage regulator, a 12 volt voltage regulator, and I have resistors to knock the voltage down to the level that it's supposed to be at. I could just do that and just pull that Zener diode off, and it would give this board a better voltage regulation system, and I'd be able to test this further. I don't know. I have to think about it. We'll have to see what happens. But anyway, that is part 1 of Hidden Valley SiraTone. We have already identified a bad component. That also led us to find another bad component. Poor little Zener diode. And with any luck, we might find more bad components. Who knows? This entire board might be non-functional. That'd be neat. Not really. I seriously need to invest in a dang variable power supply so I can just test these things without running the risk of damaging them. But anyway, that's it. That's part 1 of Hidden Valley SiraTone. It is broketed. But anyway, we're gonna figure it out. And there it is. As you can see, there's a lot going on here. None of it works, of course. That's fine. Cabinet is severely rotted.